Hey, what's up, party people? We got a full slate of news for you today and a full house of panelists. In this 4 panels on your screen, we have Danielle, Eric, Lon, and myself as Spencer J. Gilbert, reprising the role. We're talking Eternals. That came out this weekend to some fanfare. We will dive into box office, the reactions, and what happens next from here. We're also doing a news roundup. We got a new Stranger Things season 4 teaser trailer, California, baby. And I'd like to devote most of the episode's runtime to Vin Diesel's Instagram post.
So excited to talk
Absolutely.
about this. So excited.
Absolutely. I only want to talk about this. But we got to get the broccoli. We got to get the broccoli out of the way.
Yeah. And we have some late breaking news about Patty Jenkins pushing back Rogue Squadron, or Disney, I guess, pushing back Rogue Squadron. We'll dive in there and see if that spells trouble for the film in general. We'll find out. Also, live chat. So keep those questions coming in the side, and we will address them at the end or in the middle if they're good. Okay, so
very Jiminy Glick of you for a moment.
Yes.
And then we're gonna jump into some fan questions.
So I hope my sons Matthew and Modine.
I hope that they have good ones.
Yes. So the Eternals, Angelina Jolie, ageless wonder. So this
Marishan.
God, I miss Jiminy Glick.
So good.
The movie did okay. It did okay. It did well by movie standards, not great by Marvel standards, I guess is the headline here. It had the lowest opening weekend for an MCU movie since Ant-Man. But it did have, one of the higher opening weekends of the pandemic. So sure, but also did not do as well as Shang-Chi or Black Widow at the box office. It also is likely not going to get a China release. But on the other hand, it's going to probably have theaters to itself until for a couple weeks until Ghostbusters. There's nothing really here to challenge. I think everyone got scared of the Eternals, maybe for not great reasons. But it has the theaters to itself. But it also has really bad reviews by Marvel standards, and even a low cinema score by Marvel standards. A B is not what they like to see. So I guess react. What do you guys think about this opening? Is there any big takeaway here? Is this one they shrug off and get it's business as usual from here on out, or is this a warning sign? What's your let's do a gut check, Danielle. How are you feeling after the Eternals opening weekend?
Okay, so first of all, a lot of people on the IMDb's before they had seen the movie were downvoting it and giving it low scores because of forced diversity and blah 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 blah. So I do think we have to keep that into account. I will say I have not seen it yet because I am very careful about what movies I see in theaters, and this one, whilst it seems very interesting and cool and I want to support it, I was not particularly moved to go see it opening weekend. I'm probably going to see it next weekend when it gets there's less people and it peters out. And I feel like maybe, I don't know, it's pandemic times. I feel like I'm not the only one that feels that way, but also it made a crap ton of money. It's good money.
Yes, it made good movie money, but did it make good Marvel money? What do you think, Eric? What's your take?
Yeah, because look, I mean, I've now seen the movie multiple times, but I did, like Danielle, I wasn't excited to see the movie, so I'm not shocked by this box office.
Now, was that because of reviews? They were
no, because I saw it before the reviews. Because the trailers were just I'm gonna see it. It's a Marvel movie, but the trailers were not making me go hyped up. I didn't have the usual levels of hype before this one. Has a total Marvel stan. So it doesn't shock me that this is on the softer side for them. They can weather it. First of all, it didn't. It's not a disaster, right? It's not like no one went to see it. It almost proves how strong the brand is that something this obscure with this week reviews still had this opening
and posters and trailers where they're really just standing in a line on a beach.
Right. They're pretty and they're pretty places.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so I just feel like, it almost proves how strong the brand is, while at the same time, I feel like, these characters will return for sure, but I also think we might see some Taika type, Ragnarok type, redefinition of some, if not all of it, as far as let's revitalize let's spruce this up in a certain way.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, I saw this movie. I thought it was fine. I don't think there is no way in hell this is as bad as The Dark World. or some of the other. This is a mid Marvel movie, kind of right down the pipe. But anyway, Lon, what's your take?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we need a few more data points on like what the new normal is gonna be. Like, I feel like we're in this. I think what Danielle was saying is pretty right on. Like, we're in this weird moment where the pandemic is ongoing. Like, people are sort of ready. A lot of people feel ready to go back to theaters. They're open again. It's like a regular thing that people are doing. It's part of life again. We can go back to the movies, but there is still a big chunk of the audience that's just not going back, and that may never go back, or may start to go back, or may feel comfortable next year or next summer. Like, we don't know. We don't have the answers. So I feel like it's hard to say, is this what movies are going to do now, and this is like the new level that mid-level MCU movies are going to hit? Or is this still like soft, and by next year, even the baseline MCU movies will be doing better than this?
You don't think that's enough data? You don't think that's enough data from Shang-Chi and Black Widow?
No, because they were at every moment in the pandemic now is this kind of unique moment where
the Delta variant, everything. Black Widow was everything feels good again. Then it was the Delta variant,
and now it's like everyone's like, I gotta wait for my booster shot. Like,
it's like one too many variables. Like, before there would be like, okay, they're all comparable because they're all Marvel movies. They're all opening in like this kind of weekend or whatever. Like, there was enough stuff where you could make a reasonable comparison. But it's like, well, is Eternals doing worse now because people are more concerned, like they've got their booster shots and so they feel better, and it's like should have done better? Or is it worse because like the news is looking worse, and so it's like I think that the pandemic is still super complicating all of these discussions to the point that it's all kind of conjecture. Like, I agree with what all of you are saying. Like, there was less intrinsic, oh my god, I have to see this right now, to this movie than some of the others, because like, well, I don't know who Kingo is in advance, and like the Eternals as an IP doesn't really mean anything to me. And like, I haven't seen the film either, good or bad. I don't know how it plays, but I don't know if they really did a great job in the trailers of really selling us on this world. It felt like a lot of like, there's 8 new characters and they're all played by very famous, good-looking people, and they're standing in a line and something with blasting monsters. But like, I don't know if they really sold this as like the way that like a Black Widow,
they have to make these decisions right now. They're in the same. I'm sure they have more information than we do, but they're in the same environment we have, where they have to say, are we gonna? I mean, it says the Eternals will return. Spoiler alert. But will they? Will they return? And will we get an Eternals 2? And would Chloe Zhao come back to do it? And would they want her to come back and do it? We'll go to you, Eric. What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if she doesn't come back to do it. And on both sides, as far as like, it seems like the relationship was fine first, but I don't see Chloe Zhao being like, this is what I want to do now, Eternals trilogy. Like, it just doesn't seem like I think she put her, she put her heart and soul into the movie as like a movie she wanted to do. But I wouldn't be shocked if she's like, and now I'm going to do something totally. I'm going to go back to $10 million budget. And I think for them, like, the reviews had to have surprised them. Even if they didn't think this movie is one of their best ones, it still seemed like kind of a very notably a negative review. So I think the characters will be back. If this ends up being, because we don't know what the second and third weekend will be, but if it totally like drops dramatically and it's like their lowest grossing movie since Incredible Hulk, well, guess what? Even though they recast Incredible Hulk because there was an actor issue, that movie still counts. A bunch of the supporting characters have now been coming back, and it would be the same for Eternals. Like, I don't know if Eternals 2 is getting fast tracked.
These things are plotted out to the nth degree and many, many years down the line. It's right. We're not going to go into spoilers, but there's 2 appearances in the end.
Yes.
They're set up for movies that are already either in development or like have been made.
And this is kind of already the Marvel playbook. Like, they don't necessarily have to take this entire world and bring it back for a sequel that directly ties in, but elements and parts they like in this character and this relationship, like they could just cherry pick. And so
Camille will be back.
And like,
I haven't seen the movie, but Camille will be back.
Like, I feel like there's a few of these characters that are almost guaranteed to return in some form.
I also think it's just a weird time with the pandemic. Every factor we just mentioned, but also the logjam this created. It's very odd that, not just the TV shows, but the fact that Hawkeye's in like 2 weeks and Spider-Man's like 2 weeks after that. So it's a strange time where it's like, for people who are sick of this stuff, I know they're like, but for the rest of us, it's like, even if you weren't that excited by Eternals, guess what? There's a couple other things to be excited about.
I mean, I don't think that this changes their thinking at all, because the movies down the pipe are as sure hits as I've ever seen. A new Spider-Man, Doctor Strange 2, Thor, and Black Panther 2. Like, they're getting, I don't think they have like a original film coming to theaters until allegedly like 2024, or for introducing a new character in theaters. They're saving that for Disney Plus now.
Well, which Black Panther 2 is, it's a whole thing right now.
Right.
Yes, it is.
It is a whole thing.
We're all going to see it. I mean, it's sure you can pencil in success
whenever it starts back up. Yes.
Yeah. If they can finish making it, we'll all go see it for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll check back in on Eternals, because I think that this is weirdly an ongoing story. Usually the story's been told after the first weekend or so, but the fact that Ghostbusters doesn't come out, there's nothing coming out this weekend that's going to compete with Eternals, and so the weekend after is when it has even any competition. I don't know how excited people are for another Ghostbusters movie. I've seen strikingly little.
I'll not hear this Souvenir 2 erasure, Spencer. All right, so the Souvenir 2 is out right now. Franchise, it's a big franchise.
So maybe this will be like an old school hit where, like, it grow. I don't think it'll grow because the word of mouth doesn't sound like it's that good. But it'll certainly. I would predict a smaller drop off next week than.
Well, what's interesting, otherwise. It's an interesting reaction, because it's very divided, obviously, but it's not it's not middling. Like, the people who love it, and so there will be buzz. There definitely is, in some pockets, going to be word of mouth where people will go see it because their friends love it and are talking about it obsessively. Yeah. It's just that there is also this other big group of people that has not liked it very much.
Yeah. Well, I make all my decisions based on IMDb user ratings, so it stinks.
All of your life decisions. Yeah.
All right. Well, the Eternals will return in another episode of SJU.
And we got the spoiler chat.
We do have the spoiler chat, and I would like to talk spoilers about this movie when y'all have seen it. There's some.
I know. I heard about it.
I have not. I have stayed.
I'm not going to say anything, but it was like the moment that the premiere ended and half of Variety staff tweeted about what happened.
There's other things, like there's Kumail things I want to talk about. It's fine. We'll get into it later. Something that can't be spoiled because it doesn't exist yet. Stranger Things season 4. It's back, baby. West Coast style.
California.
Oh, someone please
why not just go with Phantom Planet? That's
I mean, if the show can make it to 3000,
the show is smart. Yeah. What year is it in this? In
86
right now?
I think they're saying the season is.
Screw 86. That. No. The kids are all old. Let's make it 2003. Let's have one of them. 11 moves into the pool house.
Yeah. The tight drumming of Jason Schwartzman. Come on.
I am in.
Ryan is a criminal, and that's all I will say about the OC. Ryan is a criminal.
That was his older brother.
Listen, Chino's a tough area.
He was framed. Sandy Cohn is my Thanos. He's my Zaddy.
Are we all getting ready for Christmas? I hope.
Yes. Seth Cohen, however, he's a menace. He needs to be banished to the Shadow Realm. Okay, but yeah, about this trailer. Look, it looks like Stranger Things. It's the 80s.
I actually like this because it's the first time that it doesn't exactly feel like Stranger Things. Like, it was kind of nice to hit pause on the constant like Tears for Fears neon leg warmers stuff, and like, oh, this has a different, like, I don't know this specific song they're playing, but it has a like 60s Beach Boys kind of vibe as opposed to like,
I couldn't tell if that was the Beach Boys or their non-union
it's not the
equivalent.
Beach Boys. It's like a guy doing a Beach Boys riff, I think. But
like dog sounds.
Dog sounds.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like that like it felt like the first time we're seeing like it in a slightly different context.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly jarring, of course, how much older they're getting. Will's like 10 feet tall now.
Yeah, no, they just look like they're just like adults now.
Which is why you just do the time jump. People are more nostalgic today for the 90s and early 2000s than they are for the 80s.
You would think just go, it's 1990 and like, okay.
And like give them a break. Like they go on an adventure. Every vacation these kids have, there's another government thing. Like give them some time off.
I do. I have to say, I do like the narrative that 11 is like, hey, everything is great, like while she's being super bullied. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like they're definitely leaning into they are teenagers now. They're not trying to de-age them and dress them down in like knee-high socks anymore, which is where it has to go. But yeah,
they don't really have a choice in this way. They're in an Evan Hansen level quandary where it's like we just got to admit what's happening here. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, I know the pandemic added to what was already going to be a long break between seasons, and it is like, I mean, this show, as much as Netflix doesn't give us actual numbers, I feel like we all felt Stranger Things was a legitimate big hit for them, and you could see the merchandise and stuff. Clearly it was. This is taken quite a while, so it is going to be interesting to see, like, I don't know if they can recapture quite the hype level they've had in the past, but I am curious to see that, this isn't the last season, but I feel like they're going to announce season 5 as the last one. I think that's coming around the corner.
Probably. This trailer was notable. I know we got them in a different one. Like, we know they're in the show, but there was like no Steve, no Nancy, no Lucas, no Max.
Well, we had that one where it was the haunted house thing.
Yeah.
And so like there's definitely a Hawkins story element this season. My guess would be it's like 2 episodes in California. And then
really?
And then they're going back home.
Back to Hawkins.
by halfway through the season, the whole crew is back in Hawkins for sure. I would say.
I think they could go the other way. I think they're ready to leave Hawkins behind.
I do. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where, like, in that season where they were like, we're just hanging out with all the cool kids. Like, it's just going to be 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It's like, we could do like an ET thing in like a California suburb in the 80s, and then back to Hawkins, then back to the safety of Hawkins.
Oh well, we'll see when that comes out. When does that come out, by the way?
Summer. They didn't give us a date, but they gave us a time of year.
Wow, still a ways away.
Summer, the best time for horror.
Weird, because it's all about spring break. You think they would have timed it with?
I thought that too.
That was weird.
My assumption would be like, you would release it mid-April.
Yeah. So we now move on to some breaking news before we get to the main course of the Diesel Rock beef.
My little brother Dwayne.
It was just announced just before we went live that Rogue Squadron has been delayed. And sorry, I'm just going to be kind of reading this live, but
production's been delayed, but we're already assuming it might be a release date inevitability as well.
Yeah. Well, sources say that the producers and filmmaking team came to the realization that Jenkins' schedule and other commitments wouldn't allow for the window needed to make the movie in 2022. Thus, Squadron has been taken off the production schedule. The hope is that once Patty Jenkins has fulfilled her previous commitments to Wonder Woman 3 and Cleopatra, that she will return to the project. But I got to feel like, well, I guess Rogue Squadron, this is out of the current Star Wars timeline. Like, they don't have to like reshuffle their other movies to make room for Rogue Squadron. Like, that can theoretically come out anytime, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe Rogue Squadron it's
original trilogy-ish.
Right. It's not set during like the unfolding current era of Star Wars where they're
whenever
like,
that is.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah. But no, but I still feel like it's basically there were 3 movies on her docket. That's probably one too many. And so now we figured out which one gets pulled out. Like, they could go back afterwards, but it a lot of the time when that happens, that final project ends up in turnaround.
But I saw her rollerblading next to a fighter jet.
You got me there.
If you rollerblade, I'm in. What's happening here?
A rollerblading commitment is like an oral agreement. That's legally binding.
That's true. Airborne, the remake. This seems a little like because of those 3 huge projects, which are all going to take her a lot of time, this was the only one with a release date. So you would think it's the one she's doing first, and that's what makes it a little quick. Because even the article, like THR's article, was like, well, it's not quite clear exactly what the scheduling issues are. Yes, she's doing these 3 big movies, but it felt like, Wonder Woman, they're developing a script, and Cleopatra is moving along. But Rogue Squadron was like, hey, we're coming out in December 2023. So you wonder if there's some other issues. All that being said, I think the last thing anyone wants right now is them to rush a Star Wars movie. And they don't need to, because the TV stuff is so big. And I was thinking about how Disney Plus Day, our favorite holiday, is coming this Friday, and it's going to show Andor footage and Kenobi footage. and Mandalorian season 3 probably, and Boba Fett. There's so much happening in that realm that and like we said, Rogue Squadron is not dependent on being like part of an ongoing thing, except for Star Wars, that it can wait. So it will be. I think, Lon, you're right that it's like this. The release date will be delayed, and then we'll see if the movie even happens, or because we know they have the Taika movie and the Feige movie. They have plenty in development, and something they could kind of just move up, into that.
I cannot wait to cash my Disney Plus check. It's gonna be amazing. What are y'all spending your Disney Plus checks on?
I don't know.
I was thinking, guys, November's really crazy because there's like Thanksgiving and there's Veterans Day, but then we had Stranger Things Day on Saturday and Disney Plus Day on Friday. It's just like all these great holidays that we all gather together.
They're like Catholic feasts. Disney Plus Day.
Danielle, F, Marry, Kill, Wonder Woman 3, Cleopatra, Rogue Squadron.
F, Wonder Woman, marry Rogue Squadron, and definitely kill Cleopatra.
Yeah,
like I mirror that.
Yeah, I feel the same. Cleopatra with Gal Gadot playing Cleopatra.
Absolutely not.
I don't feel like the time is right for it. I don't feel like that's what people really want to see right now. Cleopatra also, it's a famous movie, but famous for being like an incredibly expensive movie. Yeah. Like not famous for being like a beloved movie everybody talks about all the time.
Now, if it was Cleopatra Jones with literally anyone else, I'm in all day.
Of course. Honestly, Patty Jenkins should just make a Cleopatra Jones
with Regina King.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh, you just sold me on that.
Yeah, like that was at the top of the list. They should just do that.
It just reminds me of the Sony hack when the emails about Angelina Jolie wanting to do Cleopatra came out, and everyone's like, "This is going to be a huge bomb. We can't do this. This is going to be
and then there was a long period in Hollywood history where there was no problem. Like Elizabeth Taylor could play Cleopatra. Let's do it. Great, green light. We're just not. I don't know if 2021 is that time, and I think that there is a version of a Cleopatra movie that you could do that would be very cool and timely. It's not this one. I don't feel like it's this one.
I feel like Mark Anthony has aged out of playing Mark Anthony. So.
Oh man, you wanted that poster to say Mark Anthony is Mark.
Yeah. So bad.
Oh well. All right, we move on to our main event. Ding ding.
Helen of Troy, maybe. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I think The Rock is Helen of Troy in this scenario. Hobbs is.
Oh man! We just want him back. Like Agamemnon? I don't know.
I wish we had a camera on The Rock when he saw this.
Oh my God!
When his manager had to show it to him or something, because he doesn't follow.
Oh no, his manager is his ex-wife, by the way.
He got a text saying, "Look at what Ben posted."
Yeah.
Also, text our daughter or whatever.
So should I just read it? Should I just read the whole thing? Okay.
I think you have to use your best Mark Vincent Sinclair voice, though.
Well, who has the best Vin Diesel among us? I don't think it's me. Does anyone else?
It might be me.
Okay. All right. Danielle, do you have it
but hold on. No, I don't have it in front of me. Just put it in the chat, and I'll do it.
Let me put this in the chat right here. I'll just copy and paste.
This really took over my Sunday posting about this.
Yeah, I dropped
unbelievable. He's got a voice. Like nobody quite writes exactly like Vincent Diesel.
Yeah, it's him.
I think it's like my little brother Dwayne. The time has come. The world awaits the finale of Fast 10. As you know, my children refer to you as Uncle Dwayne in my house. There is not a holiday that goes by that they and you don't send well wishes. But the time has come. Legacy awaits. I told you years ago that I was going to fulfill my promise to Pablo. I don't know who that is.
That's Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Oh, well, I shouldn't make fun of it. I swore that we would reach and manifest the best Fast finale. That is 10! ! I say this out of love, but you must show up. Do not leave the franchise idle. You have a very important role to play. Hobbs can't be played by no other.
Double negative.
I hope that you rise to the occasion and fulfill Your destiny. I am Groot. Superman.
Bravo.
Well done.
Thank you,
Really
thank
well.
you,
Really
thank
well
you.
done. Yeah.
So the latest chapter in the ever ongoing psychodrama between these two slabs of beef.
The Ryan Murphy 10-part FX series about
Feud.
This is the Feud I want to see. I think the last chapter we had was him saying that he made The Rock a better actor, right?
Yes.
It took him to the School of Tough Love, and
it was only a decade. It was only a decade.
And then
career.
And then they talked about it during the junket of Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, and Rock just completely laughed it away. Like next question. Like I can't even see this Rudy Poo.
Emily Blunt also had a good time with that.
Yeah, Emily Blunt had a great time with that.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. How do we think this is gonna pay off?
Well, I think first we have to answer: Do you all believe that this was spontaneous on Vin Diesel's part, or is this part of some overall promotional campaign? Because I have seen theories on both sides.
Is this what wrestling fans call a work?
Right.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. I think we have to.
Are we working ourselves into a shoot because we're mercs? I absolutely look. Coming from the man who has multiple times taped himself singing and dancing for Facebook with no regard as to how that looks, I 100% believe that he was hanging out and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to Dwayne. Like, I do not believe that this was like a promotional thing. I absolutely 100% believe that from his heart of hearts, Vin was like, I can reach the heart of this man because this is what we need to make this franchise work.
Yeah, this to me feels like a Hail Mary more than like a piece of the puzzle that's falling into place. But maybe I am a mark, and because God, how great would that be if The Rock is in the movie with him or CGI inserted into the movie so they don't have to actually share a soundstage together.
I think they should both be in the same room physically to shoot, but they should just start facing completely different directions. like
the weirdest forced perspective possible.
Yeah, The Rock's looking over there. Vin Diesel's completely on the other side of the room looking somewhere else. And it's just like, it's experimental now.
So they've gone to space. And I fully believe that if Rock joins this franchise, again, he is going to insist that he has to top space.
I mean, they're going to go back in time and ride a dinosaur, right?
Back in time.
I think time travel is next, and then the metaverse. Like the last one is the multiverse. Like they're going to go meet other versions of the Toretto crew from.
And I heard that the last one is they were thinking it's going to be a part 1, part 2 situation.
Yeah, that confused me a little. They're making 2 movies, but I think they're calling it
Fast 10 parts 1 and 2. You know, you got to do Fast 10 Infinity War and then Fast 10 Endgame. A bunch of portals open, and a bunch of
Nissan Skylines,
tricked out Nissan Skylines jumping out of them.
Is Hobbs Thanos?
Yeah, I mean, if he could do like a heel turn, I mean, that would be great. You love to see feuds off screen spill on screen. I think this would be this would really raise my excitement and intensity levels for Fast 10 after kind of a dud of a Fast 9. And The Rock is making more Hobbs and Shaw movies, right?
He talked to, I looked this up because at first I thought that seemed like it had been kind of quiet, but then someone pointed me out to a very recent interview where he did talk about it, although pointedly he said, I want to see him walk off into the sunset. So it sounds like he wants to be done, but he's going to do like one more, maybe like he'll do a Hobbs and Shaw to like wrap up that character. But I don't know if you guys saw the big profile with Dwayne Johnson in Vanity Fair last month.
Absolutely.
And it's like, that's where he even more pointedly was like, called Vin Diesel's comments about the whole Fellini-esque thing bullshit, said they had a good laugh about it. But that's where he really seemed to be like, I am done. And I was actually really surprised to find out that article was the first time I'd read. It was Dwayne Johnson who said, I do not want to shoot with this guy on Fast 8. And that made that call. Again, Dwayne Johnson being so great with PR, so friendly to everyone. So this hit a very serious place. I also agree. This was all Vin. This was Vin being Vin in the most Vin way possible. And throwing in some condescension by calling him little brother, because he has to be the alpha.
I mean, there's
because
not only
Dwayne is obviously bigger and older than him.
Well, he's younger. He's 5 years younger. But
it's not only the my little brother thing. It's also the like he's talking down. He's lecturing him. He's like, listen, you need to do this. Get over your stuff. It's like very. It's weirdly like passive aggressive.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Money. If you pay The Rock enough money, he will absolutely show up.
I don't know if that's true though.
I don't think
I do. I think he will. Honestly, I think that if you were like, you get paid more than everyone else in the cast, he will be like, I will show up, but I will not look you in the eye. Because
that's what I was thinking is like, what's in it?
Because that's how predators work.
Yeah.
And so if you look them in the eye, then you have to fight.
I don't know. I would love to agree and believe all of you that this was just this is just Vin being Vin, and this is what he does. This is Rihanna karaoke for 2021.
The money has failed. The lawyers have failed. He's got to go to the people.
Part of me is just so cynical. It's like, oh yeah, this is the first step, and then eventually the Rock will be in part 2 of Fast 10, and they're just like sowing the seed. I don't know. I can't drop that cynical part of my soul.
I will say the Rock is more than willing to work us. Like, he will absolutely be a part of a work and let that happen.
This kind of feels like they're making a goof out of it now.
But I can also very much imagine that, based on some personal experience here at Screen Junkies over the years, that Vin Diesel seems a little annoying to work with.
Oh yeah.
And but the prospect of spending months at a time with him shooting a movie,
well, but I don't know.
He is God. Doesn't.
But that's the other thing, is that I don't know if Hobbs coming back means he's like the co-star. Like, I think it's fast at this point. You can stop by for a scene and be like, "Hey, I'm Helen Mirren," and then get the hell out of there.
True,
and like, I especially now that it's such a huge ensemble. We know Cena's coming back. I feel like, is Charlize Theron going to get her hero turn in the next one?
Of course, like that's his tradition. Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's a stacked cast on the hero side. They don't need
just
the
her
Rock
airplane is going to be on the part of the
they don't need The Rock for more than like a scene or two as Hobbs. Yeah. He doesn't have to come back to the whole thing.
My feeling for the outset is just that it's like I kept thinking Dwayne Johnson is a crowd pleaser. He likes to make the fans happy. So I kept thinking, he'll show up for a scene or two in the last one. I feel like Vin Diesel keeps sabotaging that, right? I think I mentioned this before, but when Hobbs and Shaw opened, they clearly had recently tried to be cool, because there was a Vin Diesel congratulations on the opening and Dwayne Johnson saying thanks, brother. And there seemed to be this little tiny window of we're cool. And I thought, okay, yeah, he'll show up for a couple scenes in the final Fast movie. And then Vin Diesel had to say, I taught him everything he knew and all that stuff. And it just feels like Vin Diesel just can't stop getting in his own Vin Diesel way. That doesn't mean it won't happen, though, because I do think Dwayne Johnson still knows it'll make everyone happy if I pop up in this movie.
I think it's even if it's a scene that he doesn't have to interact direct, like they'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm curious to see what the fans watching now have to say about that. There's one good question I'd like to point out from Wendigo. Asks, who do you cast in the Vin Diesel Dwayne Johnson feud biopic a la Betty Davis?
Great question. Great question.
The guy who played young Dom in Fast 9, and the guy who plays college age Rock on Young Rock.
The Rock guy would be really good. Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I can't top that.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
I just think that
they should actually be older, but I'm just saying.
The Rock would choose like young Rock, but Vin would kind of get insecure, and they'd each start casting bigger and bigger bodybuilders to play against each other
until it's just like
the two largest men on earth.
It's just like they're just casting computer generated mocap characters against each other or something.
Yeah.
What if it's like Adam Driver, his Vin Diesel?
Interesting. Yeah, just go real prestige with it.
I love family.
But it's Adam Driver when he's like half horse in that perfume commercial. All right. Arthur Mingo asks, Danielle is right. But the question is, how big would that check have to be to get The Rock back? Like, would you have to pay him his full quote, which is probably approaching $20 million to star in a movie, but like just for one scene? Or like give him profit participation, like just for one scene. Like what gets The Rock out of bed for something he doesn't want to do?
Yeah, I think for one scene, I think you could probably pay him like a cool $2 million.
Yeah.
You're always in competition. It's like whatever week of Dwayne's life you're trying to take up with your movie, it's like, well, what else would he be doing during that week?
Black Adam too, yeah.
Yeah, like he's obviously not just sitting around eating like way too many eggs at home. Like he's off shooting something else. So, you're not only, you got to make him an offer that's worth his time, but you got to like beat the other people who are competing for stuff.
You got to book him right before WrestleMania. The week before WrestleMania, if you could get him in when he's not doing anything else except like getting ready for WrestleMania to like shoot out a t-shirt cannon, that's when you get him.
Yeah. Get him while he's vulnerable right before pre WrestleMania. I want to we'll end on this, and I think this is we're circling back to Eternals, but this is a question that I find to be true. Stephen H asks, am I the only one that thinks movies centered on immortal gods, or Eternals if you will, lowers the stakes and in turn lowers the interest level? And I gotta say, there was a degree of stakes fatigue in Eternals that I haven't felt since 90s or like 2000s comic book movies, where it's always the entire world is at stake and these all powerful beings are all wrestling with each other and we're just these little pawns. And it's just, I don't know, there's something kind of like when you don't have a fun spin on it, like say Moonfall or similar, when the stakes are so over the top, I'm just kind of looking like, oh, Kumail, do we get to see his abs in this movie or what? Like, while the entire Earth is like is at risk of exploding. And I wonder if they could have started. I wish Eternals was a series, because I feel like they could have started with done more character work so that we cared about them more by the time it got to that. But you had this rush to the whole universe threatening to blow up that I think kind of washes out anything else you're supposed to care about.
There's a distancing thing when you're like, we are immortal beings that you have to work extra hard to overcome. Yeah. Because it's just like, if they seem like, they are above us, both in their abilities, but also in just everything. And you have to work really hard to be like, okay, how can we get invested in them as characters?
I think they did a better job of that with a lot less money in the old guard of that crew of people, where they really dove into. They had more time to chew on the sadness and the loneliness of being an immortal in a world of people who die all the time.
The old guard was so good, by the way.
I always think it's like a writing challenge. It's like, well, yeah, you can't, like, these characters aren't going to be satisfying in the same way as a character with like a limited ability, where you've got to like, they've got to be clever in how they defeat their enemy, because they can't just, go up and hit them. But there are a lot of, DC more so than Marvel, I think. There's a lot of characters where they're just like godlike and very powerful and all-knowing, and you just have to like write around them and give them challenges that do play to their weaknesses, whatever those weaknesses may be. And so, it's doable, but I think it does add a difficulty factor in terms of when you're plotting it out. Like, it's harder to write maybe a story for those characters than someone like Spider-Man or Batman, where it's just like, well, he gets injected with fear toxin and now he's a chump.
You can't do the Eternals can't make the rent this month,
Right. Yes. Like,
and again, I haven't seen it, but like there's a thing about like not introducing a million characters who all are like these immortal, gorgeous beings at once, where you can get to like learn their flaws and like learn their characters. And again, I have not seen it. But there is that thing about like a lot of DC films where it's like, like you get to know that, Superman is Clark Kent. He has a boner for Lois. He really likes the news. Like, that's his whole bag.
Interest, the news.
Interestingly, the news, Lois, corn. All right.
Beef bolognese.
Flannel shirts.
Thank you guys for hanging out. This is a fun one. I just want everybody to remember that this week that you can be played by no other. And I hope this week you rise to the occasion and fulfill your destiny. And we'll be back in our respective roles. We won't run from the challenge like Hobbs. We'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday for more SJU goodness. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.